Hi, I'm Rachel Moore and I'm 32 years old. I live in Austin, Texas, and I need to tell you about something that happened last month. My little sister Emma was getting married. I was so happy for her. But then something bad happened that changed everything. I was bringing boxes into the house. Heavy boxes with ribbons and bows. I was planning her whole wedding as my gift, making the cake table pretty, choosing what food everyone would eat. But then I heard my family talking in the kitchen. They thought I was outside. My mom said something that made my tummy hurt. She said I would watch all the little kids during the wedding. 12 kids. That's a lot of kids. And nobody asked me if I wanted to do it. They just decided for me. Like I didn't have my own plans. My dad said it would be easy for me. My sister Emma giggled and said I love kids anyway. But I felt really sad. I worked so hard on her wedding. Staying up late. Drawing pictures of how the tables should look. Talking to the bakery about the cake. And now they wanted me to miss everything to watch children run around. I felt my face get hot. Really hot. Like when you're angry and sad at the same time. Right then I decided something. I was not going to do what they wanted. Not this time. I called the bakery and told them to stop making the cake. I called the food truck and canceled all the tacos and sandwiches. Then I looked up a nice hotel in the city. A really pretty one with a pool on the roof. On the day of the wedding my phone started ringing. It rang and rang and rang. Emma was calling me. Her voice was loud and upset. She yelled into the phone asking where I was. I was sitting by the pool with a cold drink in my hand. The sun was shining. The water was blue. And I smiled. I told her not to wait for me. And I told her the food wasn't coming either. What happened after that? Well, let me tell you. It was a day they will remember forever. But before I keep going, I want to know something. What time is it where you are right now? And what city are you watching from? I love knowing how many places my story reaches. For 3 whole months, I worked on Emma's wedding. I'm good at planning parties. It's part of my job. I design events for people in Austin. Emma wanted to get married outside at a big garden with lots of flowers and trees. It was so pretty. I spent days picking the right colors for everything. I looked at napkins. I smelled candles. I tasted cookies and little sandwiches to see which ones tasted best. I even made special signs to point people where to go. I wanted everything to be perfect. Because Emma is my sister and I love her. I thought this was a nice thing sisters do for each other. Every night I came home tired. My fingers hurt from writing. My back hurt from carrying things. But I felt good inside. Felt proud. Then on Tuesday night I came home with bags full of ribbons. The house was quiet. But I heard voices coming from the dining room. I stopped in the hallway. I didn't mean to listen. But then I heard my dad say my name. He said Rachel will take care of the kids. Like it was already decided. My mom said yes, she's so good with children. It will save us money if we don't hire someone. Then Emma laughed. She said I never say no to anything. 12 kids would be fine. 12 kids. My heart started beating fast. They were talking about me watching a dozen children. Little kids who run and scream and cry. During the whole wedding. The part where Emma walks down the path. The part where everyone eats. All of it. And nobody asked me first. I held on to the wall. I felt like someone punched me in the belly. My mom kept talking. She said I already did so much with the decorations and the food. What's a little more work? My dad made a sound like he agreed. He said it's not like I had important plans anyway. Those words hurt the most. Like my life didn't matter. Like my time didn't count. I tiptoed up the stairs to my bedroom. I sat on my bed and looked at my planning notebook. Pages and pages of notes. Phone numbers. Ideas I drew. My handwriting everywhere. I gave so much to this wedding. But to them I was just someone who did chores. Someone they could tell what to do. I thought about all the times I helped my family. Cooking big dinners on holidays. Fixing things when they broke. Driving people to the airport early in the morning. I did it because I thought that's what families do. We help each other. But this felt different. Planning a whole wedding and then also babysitting 12 kids. Without anyone saying please or thank you. That crossed a line. Big line. I opened my computer. I found the email from the bakery. The one making Emma's big white cake with flowers on it. My finger sat on the mouse. Part of me wanted to run downstairs and yell at everyone. But I knew that wouldn't work. Dad would tell me to calm down. Mom would act surprised. Emma would roll her eyes at me. Well, talking wouldn't fix this. They made a plan without asking me. So I would make my own plan without telling them. I wasn't just hurt. I was finished. Finished being the person everyone used. My job in this family wasn't what I thought it was. And knowing that made my chest feel tight and hot. I needed to think about what to do next. Starting with that wedding. I wanted to talk to someone who would understand. So I texted my best friend Maya. I asked if she could meet me at our favorite sandwich shop downtown. Place was busy. People talking and eating. Music playing. But I barely noticed. I slid into a booth in the back corner. My planning notebook was under my arm. Looking at it made me feel sick. Maya came in and saw my face. Her smile went away. I told her everything. How I spent months making Emma's wedding beautiful. Picking flowers and testing food. How I heard them planning to make me watch kids all day. They didn't even ask me Maya. I said, my voice shaky. They just decided my time means nothing. Maya leaned closer. Her eyes looked angry for me. That's not okay, Rachel. That's not how family treats family. You're not their helper robot. Her words made something click in my brain. Like a light turning on. She listened while I talked about everything. How Dad always acted like I should just do what he says. How Mom went along with everything. How Emma laughed like this was no big deal. You don't owe them this, Maya said, stirring her soda with a straw. So what are you going to do? That question made my brain start working. I'd been upset. But now I saw what I could do. I'm not going, I told her. The words came out strong. I'm done with this wedding. Maya's eyebrows went up, but she nodded. Let them see what happens without you. Pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking a little bit. I found the bakery's number. My thumb pressed the call button. This was it. No going back now. The baker answered. Hello, this is Rachel Moore, I said. I need to cancel the cake order for the Moore wedding this Saturday. The whole thing. The baker sounded confused. She asked why. Kept it simple. Things changed, I said. Then I hung up before I could change my mind. Next I called the taco truck. The man who answered knew my voice. I'd called him so many times about Emma's wedding. Cancel the food order for Saturday, I told him. All of it. He tried to argue. He said they already bought the ingredients. Send the bill to my dad, Robert Moore, I said. My voice didn't shake this time. Each call felt like taking off a heavy backpack I'd been carrying too long. I wasn't just canceling food and cake. I was standing up for myself. Maya watched me with a small smile growing on her face. You're actually doing this, she said. He nodded. My heart was pounding, but I felt clear. Like fog lifting. They made their plan without me. So I'll make mine without them. But I had one more thing to do. I opened my laptop right there at the sandwich shop. I searched for hotels in Austin. Nice ones. One popped up that looked amazing. It had a pool on the roof where you could see the whole city. Perfect. I booked a room for the whole weekend. My credit card went through with a beep. I imagined myself there on Saturday, swimming and relaxing while Emma and my parents tried to figure out what went wrong. The thought made me smile. Not because I wanted them to suffer, but because I was finally choosing myself. Maya reached across the table and touched my hand. You're braver than they think, she said. Felt it too. Like something strong waking up inside me. I wasn't going to be a pushover anymore. At home that night I packed a small bag. My favorite clothes. My toothbrush. A book I'd been wanting to read. No planning notebook this time. I looked at my phone. I thought maybe Emma or Mom would text. But nothing. They had no idea what was about to happen. I'd spent years jumping up to help whenever they called. Fixing their problems. Thinking that was my job. Now I understood it was a bad deal. Gave and gave. They took and took. Wednesday morning I checked my cancellations. The bakery sent an email. Confirmed. Okay. The taco truck sent a message too. They sounded annoyed about the last-minute change. I didn't care. I called the hotel to make sure my room was ready. I even added a massage appointment for Saturday afternoon. Why not? I deserved something nice. My email had messages from other wedding people asking about final details. I sent them all to Dad's email. Let him figure it out. I wasn't their backup plan anymore. By Wednesday night I felt calm. More calm than I'd felt in weeks. The wedding was 3 days away. And I wasn't going to be there. Emma and Mom and Dad would have to deal with the mess they created. I didn't know exactly how it would all go down. But I knew one thing for sure. I was ready to let them handle it. I turned off my phone. Poured myself some juice. Sat on my couch. Felt lighter. Like a balloon floating up. For the first time in forever I wasn't planning someone else's day. I was planning my own. Saturday morning came. Wedding day. I woke up to sunshine coming through big windows. The hotel room was beautiful. Soft white blankets. Windows so big I could see the whole city. And the view of Lady Bird Lake sparkling like diamonds. For the first time in months I wasn't rushing around trying to fix something. No planning notebook. No vendor emails. No family bossing me around. Just me in a fluffy robe with a cup of hot chocolate from the hotel cafe. I stood on the little balcony breathing in the warm air. Emma's wedding was happening across town at the garden. But I was done being their backup person. Today I chose me. I relaxed in a comfy chair looking at a magazine when my phone buzzed. Emma's name showed up on the screen. I let it ring a few times. Enjoying the moment. Then I answered. "Rachel, where are you?" she screamed into the phone. Her voice was high and panicky. The cake never came. The food truck isn't here. And kids are running everywhere. I could hear crazy sounds behind her. Kids yelling. Someone dropping something. A man's voice shouting about napkins. I leaned back in my chair, crossing my legs. "Sounds like a problem," I said. My voice was cold as ice. "But you didn't ask for my help, remember? You just assumed I'd do whatever you wanted." She made a choking sound. "We need you here. This is my wedding day." I almost laughed. "You needed a free babysitter and a free party planner," I said. "Find someone else." Then I hung up. My heart was beating fast but steady. 10 minutes later Dad called. "Rachel. This is not acceptable," he said in his angry dad voice. "Get to the garden right now and fix this mess." I imagined him standing there. His tie crooked. Surrounded by confused people wondering where the food was. "Fix it yourself, Dad," I said. My voice was calm but firm. "You and Mom decided I was just your worker bee. Without asking. I'm not coming." He started to yell but I ended the call. My hands were shaking. But I meant every word. They crossed a line. Treating me like I only existed to serve them. I wasn't backing down. I sipped my hot chocolate. Let the quiet settle around me. The hotel was peaceful. Soft music in the lobby. Nice people walking by smiling. I'd booked that massage for later. Something I hadn't done in years. My phone buzzed again. Texts from Mom begging. "Rachel, please. We're desperate." I ignored them. Their emergency wasn't mine to solve. For once I wasn't the one scrambling to save everyone. Felt lighter. Like years of heavy stuff just fell off my shoulders. I opened my computer. Checked my work emails. I had a new message about a business party I'd pitched last week. A tech company wanted me to plan their event. Work felt good. It reminded me I had a real life beyond their demands. Around lunchtime Maya texted asking if I was free. She was in town covering a music festival for her job. I invited her to the hotel restaurant. A cool place with brick walls and fancy drinks. Over salads we talked about work. Her latest article. My party planning ideas. "I heard the wedding's falling apart," she said casually. Taking a bite of lettuce. Shrugged. Trying to play it cool. "They'll survive." Maya didn't push. Just nodded. We moved on to talking about my pitch for the tech company event. Felt so good. No pity. No rehashing family drama. Just two friends talking about normal stuff. My phone kept buzzing. More calls from Emma. Voicemail from Dad. Even a text from Mom saying this isn't like you, Rachel. I deleted everything. Their words didn't hurt anymore. They just sounded empty. I thought about the garden, imagining guests standing around. No food. No cake. Kids probably going wild. Emma must have been so mad in her white dress. Dad probably yelling at everyone. Mom trying to make it seem okay. I didn't feel guilty. Not even a little. They assumed I'd bend like always. But I wasn't their safety net anymore. I'd spent years saying yes to keep everyone happy, thinking that's what made us a good family. Now I saw it clearly. It was a one-way street. I went to the spa. Laid down on a massage table. The lady worked on my sore back and shoulders. The room smelled like flowers. For an hour I forgot about the wedding completely. My phone stayed off, tucked in my bag. I wasn't hiding. I was living my life. Later I walked around downtown Austin. Went into a bookstore and looked at the shelves. I bought a funny novel. Then sat by the water with iced tea. The day felt like mine, not theirs. I wasn't just skipping a wedding. I was rewriting what family meant to me. By evening I was back at the hotel, sipping a fancy drink at the rooftop pool. The city lights twinkled below like fireflies. I felt quiet strength inside. Emma and Dad's calls had stopped, probably because they were too busy dealing with the chaos. I didn't care how they handled it. I'd given them everything for years. My time, my energy, my love. And they threw it back in my face like trash. Today wasn't about being mean. It was about respecting myself. I wasn't going back to being someone they could step on. I finished my drink, ready for whatever happened next. The next morning my phone was full of messages. Most were from numbers I didn't know. Guests from Emma's wedding probably. Caught up in the disaster I left behind. I turned off my phone during my spa time. But now back in my hotel room I scrolled through. Each text painted a picture of a total mess at the garden. One message stood out. From Linda Chin. A guest I barely knew. She was friends with my mom. Rachel, this wedding is a disaster, her text said. No food. No cake. Kids everywhere. I don't blame you for staying away. I smiled a little, imagining Linda, a strict mom of 3, watching everything fall apart. She'd always been honest. And her words felt like she was on my side. They should have treated you better, she added. I didn't write back. But her support made something settle in my chest. The garden must have been crazy. Tea tables. No taco truck. Just a flower arch with nothing else to show for months of work. Another text came from my cousin Jake. I messed up, Rachel, he wrote. I went along with your dad's plan at first. But I told him off today. He's really mad at me. I raised my eyebrows. Jake had been at the house when Emma, Dad and Mom made their plan to stick me with 12 kids. He didn't speak up then. But now he was picking a side. You did the right thing, he added. I typed back a quick thanks. Feeling a connection. Jake's fight with Dad was a crack in their united front. Felt good knowing someone in the family understood. The real story came through bits and pieces in Linda's follow-up texts. With no taco truck, the guests got nothing. Just a water cooler and some old chips from a gas station nearby. The 12 kids with no one watching them turned the garden into a playground. Linda described one boy knocking over chairs. Another spilling juice on a lady's fancy dress. A group playing chase through the ceremony area. Emma, in her perfect white dress, was apparently yelling at someone on the phone. Trying to save something. Anything. I could picture her face. Red. Veil crooked. The dream wedding she'd bragged about was crumbling. Dad and Mom weren't doing any better. Linda mentioned they scrambled to get last-minute food. Some pizza place that could deliver for 150 people. Cost them a fortune. Around $3,000, she guessed. Based on hearing Dad's angry phone call with the credit card company. The food came late, cold, and barely enough. Guests were complaining. Some left before the toasts even happened. Mom tried to act like a hostess, offering weak apologies. But Linda said her smile looked fake. Like she knew the day was ruined. Your parents are so embarrassed, Linda texted. Leaned back, letting that sink in. They counted on me to make everything perfect. But without me their whole show fell apart. I didn't feel happy about it. Just a quiet satisfaction. This wasn't revenge. It was consequences. Emma laughed off my work, assuming I'd handle everything. Dad barked orders like I was his employee. Mom went along with it, never questioning. Now they were paying for it. With money and with their pride. The guests leaving early hurt Dad the most. He cared about looking good in front of people. Pictured him pacing, tie loose, muttering about how this wouldn't have happened if I'd just shown up. But I didn't. And that was the whole point. Jake's second text gave more details. Your dad blamed me for not warning him you'd bail, he wrote. I told him he should have asked you in the first place. I could imagine the argument. Jake, usually quiet, standing up to Dad's temper. Probably happened in front of guests, adding to the embarrassment. I didn't reply this time. Jake's choice to fight with Dad was his own. But it showed the ripple effect of my decision. Their plan backfired. And now they were turning on each other. Linda sent one last message. You're better off where you are, Rachel. I nodded to myself, setting the phone down. The hotel room was quiet. The lake outside shimmering under the afternoon sun. I didn't need to be at the garden to know the chaos was real. Emma's perfect day was destroyed. Dad and Mom were stuck cleaning up a mess they made. I'd spent years smoothing over their problems, fixing their mistakes. But not today. The wedding was their disaster to handle, not mine. 2 days later I was drinking tea when someone knocked on my door. I'd been home for a few hours, unpacking from the hotel, my mind still buzzing with the freedom of the weekend. I looked through the peephole. It was Emma. Her face looked tired. No glow from her wedding day left. Opened the door, cup still in my hand, leaned against the frame. What do you want, Emma? Asked, my voice flat. Emma stepped inside without asking if she could. Her shoes clicked on my wood floor. We need to talk, she said. Her tone tired and defensive. She stood in my living room, arms crossed, still wearing earrings from the wedding. Yesterday was a disaster, Rachel. You didn't show up and everything fell apart. I set my tea down. Met her eyes. Sounds like you had a tough day, I said, letting the sarcasm hang in the air. She flinched, but kept going. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean for it to go like that. We just thought you'd handle the kids because you're so good at organizing stuff. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Good at organizing? You mean good at cleaning up your messes for free? I stepped closer, my voice steady. You, Dad and Mom decided I'd be your babysitter and party planner. Without asking me. That's not family, Emma. That's disrespect. Her eyes got big, like she didn't expect me to fight back. We didn't mean it like that, she stammered. We were stressed planning the wedding and we thought you'd want to help. I shook my head. You didn't think about what I wanted. You assumed I'd do whatever you said. Like always. Emma's face crumpled. She tried a different approach. I'm your sister, she said, voice softer. We've always been close. Can't we just forget this and move on? Felt a little pang. Memories of late-night talks. Her crying to me about breakups. Me being there for her. But it wasn't enough. You were there for me when it was easy, I said. But when I gave everything for your wedding you laughed and piled on more. I'm done being your backup plan. She opened her mouth. But I cut her off. No, Emma. You don't get to make me feel bad for standing up for myself. You made your choice. Now you deal with it. She stood there, silent, her hands twisting together. Mom and Dad are upset too, she said finally, almost whispering. They're saying you ruined everything. I didn't blink. They ruined it when they treated me like their servant, I said. If they're upset, that's their problem, not mine. Emma's eyes filled with tears. But I didn't soften. I'd spent years swallowing my feelings to keep everyone happy. Not anymore. You should leave, I told her, nodding toward the door. She waited a second, then turned and walked out, her footsteps echoing. The door clicked shut. I sank onto my couch. The silence was heavy, but not bad. I'd held my ground, and it felt right. My phone rang, pulling me from my thoughts. It was my Aunt Cheryl. Her voice warm but strong when I answered. "Rachel, I heard what happened," she said. "I'm proud of you." Cheryl had always been the honest one in the family, never afraid to call out nonsense. "I was at the wedding," she continued. "It was a mess, and they deserved it. Your dad and mom were out of line. Emma should have known better." Smiled. Her words like medicine. "Thanks, Cheryl," I said. "I just couldn't take it anymore." "You did the right thing," she said. "They thought they could lean on you forever without giving back. You showed them they can't." We talked for a bit. Her stories of the chaotic reception, guests leaving, Dad's red-faced arguments, confirming what I'd heard. But Cheryl didn't dwell on the drama. "Focus on yourself now," she advised. "You've got a good brain. Don't let them drag you back down." I promised I wouldn't. We hung up, her support settling deep in my chest. Sat back, staring at the ceiling. Emma's visit didn't shake me. Her apologies came too late. Her excuses too weak. Dad and Mom's anger didn't bother me either. I'd given them years. My time. My energy. My loyalty. And they threw it away like garbage. Cheryl's call reminded me that not everyone in the family saw me as a tool. Some people got it. Felt stronger. Ready to close this chapter for good. A week after the wedding, I threw myself into starting my own business. My own event planning company. The idea had been growing in my mind for months. Started by that tech company party pitch I sent before the wedding. I named it More Events. A nod to my own strength. My last name but my rules. I rented a small office downtown. Big windows looking out at Congress Avenue. My first clients were a young couple planning a big anniversary dinner. Their trust in me felt like a fresh start. I hired 2 helpers. Used my years of experience. Poured my energy into every detail. Pretty flowers. Good food. Lighting that made everything glow. Within months, More Events was fully booked. Corporate parties. Charity dinners. Birthday celebrations. The Austin Chronicle newspaper ran a story about me. They called my work polished and heartfelt. Each success reminded me I was more than a family errand girl. Meanwhile, Emma, Dad and Mom were dealing with the wedding fallout. Cheryl, always the family truth teller, filled me in during a coffee meet-up. The ruined wedding cost them more than just money. Dad's reputation as the perfect family man took a hit. Friends and co-workers stopped inviting him to gatherings, whispering about the disaster. Mom's friend group, usually full of gossip, grew quiet around her. They'd spent $3,000 on last-minute pizza. But the real damage was deeper. Cheryl said they'd borrowed money to cover it, hurting their bank account. "They're still dealing with it," she told me, stirring her coffee. "But they brought it on themselves." Jake, my cousin, had also pulled away. After his fight with Dad at the wedding, he stopped coming to family dinners. Cheryl mentioned he'd called her, venting about how Dad tried to blame everyone except himself. "He's done with them too," Cheryl said. Their isolation was so different from my new path. I wasn't gloating, but I felt a quiet vindication. Their plan to use me backfired, leaving them to face consequences. Financial, social, personal. The lesson hit me hard. Respecting myself had to come first. For years I let Emma, Dad and Mom take advantage, thinking it was my role as family. I planned their parties, fixed their problems, swallowed my anger to keep peace. But family doesn't mean being a doormat. Their lack of respect cost them big. Not just money, but trust from relatives like Cheryl and Jake. Respect from their community. I learned that saying no, setting boundaries, that wasn't selfish. It was survival. Actions like theirs, assuming I'd carry their burdens without asking, led to their own downfall. A ruined wedding, wallets, broken relationships. I didn't need their approval to succeed. More Events proved that. My days were full of client meetings, venue tours, late-night idea sessions. I'd built something of my own, something they couldn't touch. Cheryl's support, Jake's stand, even Linda's texts from the wedding day, showed me I wasn't alone. There were people who saw my worth. who didn't expect me to bend over backward for nothing. That was enough. As I sat in my office looking at contracts for a summer festival, I felt clear. Clearer than I'd ever been. Cutting off Emma, Dad and Mom wasn't about punishment. It was about freedom. I wasn't waiting for apologies, or hoping they'd change. I was done carrying their weight. My life was moving forward, and I was building it my way. 1 month later, I got an unexpected visitor at my office. I was reviewing flower options for a corporate gala when my assistant knocked. "Someone here to see you," she said, looking uncertain. I looked up, and there stood Mom. Elizabeth. She looked older somehow. Tired. Her usual put-together appearance slightly off. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice quiet. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Didn't offer tea or small talk. Just waited. She sat down, hands folded in her lap. "Rachel, I came to apologize," she said, looking at her hands. "What happened at the wedding? What we did to you. It wasn't right." Leaned back, arms crossed, listening, but not softening yet. "Your father and I, we took you for granted," she continued. "We assumed you'd always be there to help. Fix things. We didn't see how much we were asking." I stayed quiet, letting her words hang in the air. "Emma's devastated," Mom said. "The wedding was supposed to be perfect, and it turned into a nightmare." I raised an eyebrow. "And whose fault was that?" She flinched. "It was our fault. We should have asked you. Should have appreciated everything you were already doing. We had no right to pile more on without your permission." The words sounded genuine, but years of being used made me cautious. "Why now?" I asked. "Why come here and say this now?" "Because I saw what we lost," she said, voice cracking. "Not just the wedding, but you. You've pulled away. And I don't blame you. But I miss my daughter." I felt something tug in my chest, but I pushed it down. "You miss having someone to do your chores," I said flatly. Mom shook her head quickly. "Well, I miss you, Rachel. Your laugh. Talks. I know I messed up. We all did." She pulled a tissue from her purse, wiped her eyes. "Your business is doing so well. Cheryl told me. I'm proud of you. Even if I don't deserve to say that." I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation. But all I saw was regret. Real regret. "I appreciate you coming here," I said slowly. "But an apology doesn't erase years of taking advantage of me." "I know," she whispered. I needed you to know I'm sorry. And that I understand why you did what you did." We sat in silence for a moment. The office quiet except for the hum of the air conditioner. "I'm not ready to just go back to how things were," I told her. My voice firm but not cruel. "I need boundaries. Real ones." Mom nodded. "Understand. Whatever you need. I'm willing to work on it." She stood up, smoothed her skirt. Can I call you sometime? Just to talk?" Thought about it. Part of me wanted to say no, to protect the peace I'd found. But another part, a smaller part, remembered the good times. Before everything got so unbalanced. Maybe I said, "But don't expect me to come running every time there's a problem." "I won't," Mom said quickly. "Promise." Left. And I sat there for a long time, staring at the flower samples on my desk. I didn't know if I'd ever fully trust her again. Or Dad. Or Emma. But I knew one thing. I'd never go back to being their doormat. 6 months passed. More Events was thriving. I'd hired 2 more staff members. Rented a bigger office space. My calendar was full through the next year. I'd planned a beautiful wedding for the tech company CEO's daughter. A charity gala that raised $50,000. A milestone birthday party that got featured in a local magazine. Each success felt like proof. Proof that I was capable, valuable, important. Mom called once a week, just to chat. First I kept the conversations short, guarded. But slowly, very slowly, I let her in a little. She asked about my work. Told me about her garden. Didn't ask for favors. Dad reached out too. An awkward email apologizing, saying he was proud of what I'd built. I responded briefly, politely. But I didn't offer more. Emma was the hardest. She sent texts occasionally. Miss you, sis. Hope you're well. I usually didn't respond. The hurt from her laughing at my expense. From her assuming I'd just fall in line. That took longer to fade. Jake became a regular part of my life. We met for lunch monthly. Talked about work and life. He'd started his own thing too. A small tech startup. We bonded over breaking free from family expectations. Cheryl remained my rock. To check in. Celebrate my wins. Never once made me feel bad for setting boundaries. Linda, the guest from the wedding, actually became a friend. She'd hired me to plan her daughter's graduation party. Said she admired my backbone. One evening I stood in my new office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Austin skyline. Fairy lights strung across the ceiling. Mood boards covering the walls. This space was mine. Built on my terms. My phone buzzed. Text from Maya. Proud of you, friend. You've come so far. Smiled. Typed back a heart emoji. Had come far. From being the family doormat to running a successful business. From swallowing my feelings to speaking my truth. The journey wasn't easy. There were nights I cried. Wondering if I'd done the right thing. Wondering if standing up for myself made me a bad person. But deep down I knew. I knew I deserved respect. Deserved to be asked, not told. Deserved to have my time valued. The wedding disaster was a turning point. Not just for me but for my whole family. They learned I wasn't disposable. Wasn't someone they could use and discard. And I learned I was stronger than I thought. Strong enough to walk away. Strong enough to build something new. Strong enough to demand better. I opened my planner. Tomorrow I had a consultation with a bride planning a fall wedding. Next week a corporate retreat. The month after a charity auction. My life was full. Not with obligations I resented. But with work I loved. Clients who respected me. Projects that challenged me. I thought about Emma's wedding. The cake that never came. The taco truck that got cancelled. 12 kids running wild. Part of me still felt a twinge. Not guilt exactly. But sadness. Sadness that it had to come to that. That they pushed me so far I had no choice but to push back. But I didn't regret it. Not for a second. Because that day at the hotel. Sipping my drink by the pool. Ignoring their frantic calls. That was the day I chose myself. And it changed everything. I sat at my desk. Pulled out a journal I'd started keeping. Flipped to a fresh page. At the top I wrote, things I've learned. Number 1. Family should lift you up, not drag you down. Number 2. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. Makes you honest. Number 3. Your time is valuable. Don't let anyone treat it like it's not. Number 4. Sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Number 5. You can love people and still set boundaries with them. Closed the journal. Feeling a sense of peace. The sun was setting. Painting the sky orange and pink. Beautiful. I grabbed my bag. Locked up the office. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. New opportunities. New chances to prove to myself what I was capable of. As I walked to my car I passed a flower shop. On impulse I went in. Bought myself a bouquet. Bright sunflowers and purple irises. 'Cause I deserved flowers. Not for planning someone else's event. But just for being me. At home I put the flowers in a vase. Made myself dinner. Something simple but nice. Pasta with fresh vegetables. Garlic bread. A glass of wine. Ate slowly. Savoring each bite. No rushing. No planning. No thinking about who needed what from me. Just me. Enjoying a quiet evening. My phone rang. I glanced at it. I hesitated. Then answered. Hey, I said. Ushus. Hey, Rachel, Emma said. Her voice small. I wanted to say I'm sorry. Again. I know I've said it before but I really mean it. I leaned against the counter. "'Kay," I said. Not giving much. I've been thinking a lot, Emma continued. About how I treated you. How we all did. It wasn't okay. You were doing so much for me and I just expected more. Without even asking. Without even saying thank you. I stayed quiet. Letting her talk. "I miss you," she said. voice cracking. I miss my big sister. I miss our talks and our laughs. I know I messed up, but I want to try to fix it. If you'll let me. Took a breath. I said. I miss you too. But things can't go back to how they were. I need you to respect me. Respect my time. My boundaries. I will, she said quickly. Promise I will. Can we maybe get coffee sometime? Just talk. Thought about it. Weighed the risk. The potential for falling back into old patterns. But also remembered the sister I grew up with. The one who used to braid my hair. Who used to tell me secrets. Maybe I said finally. Let me think about it. Emma said. Understand. Thank you for even considering it. We hung up. And I stood there. Flowers on my counter. Wine in my hand. Feeling complicated emotions swirl inside. I wasn't ready to fully forgive. Wasn't ready to dive back into family dinners and obligations. But maybe, just maybe, there was room for healing. On my terms. My pace. I finished my wine. Looked at my reflection in the window. I looked different somehow. Stronger. More sure of myself. The woman staring back wasn't the pushover who said yes to everything. She was someone who knew her worth. Who demanded respect. Who wasn't afraid to walk away when necessary. I liked her. I liked who I'd become. The next morning I woke up energized. Ready to tackle the day. I had back-to-back meetings. Venue walkthrough. A tasting with a new caterer. My assistant had flagged 3 urgent emails. But I felt ready. Capable. At the venue I stood in the center of a beautiful ballroom. Chandeliers hanging overhead. Windows overlooking a garden. The bride, a woman named Sophie, looked at me with stars in her eyes. Can you make my vision come true? She asked. Smiled. Absolutely. Let's make it magical. We spent 2 hours planning every detail. Colors. Flowers. Music. Lighting. Sophie trusted me. Listened to my suggestions. Treated me like the professional I was. This, I thought. This is what it should feel like. Respect. Collaboration. Appreciation. Not demands and assumptions. Not being taken for granted. By afternoon I was exhausted but happy. Good exhausted. The kind that comes from doing work you love. I stopped by a coffee shop. Ordered my favorite latte. Sat by the window watching people walk by. My phone buzzed. Text from Cheryl. Family dinner next month. Just a few of us. Low-key. You're invited but no pressure. I appreciated the no pressure part. Type back, I'll think about it. She responded with a thumbs up. No guilt trip. No begging. Just understanding. That's what I needed. Space to decide on my own terms. That evening I went for a walk around Ladybird Lake. The same lake I'd seen from my hotel window on Emma's wedding day. Felt like a lifetime ago. But it had only been 6 months. 6 months of growth. Change. Of becoming someone I was proud to be. I thought about everything that had happened. The overheard conversation. Cancellations. The hotel escape. The frantic phone calls. The fallout. Had been messy. Painful. Complicated. But necessary. Sometimes you have to break things down to build them back up better. Sometimes you have to lose people to find yourself. I didn't know what the future held with my family. Maybe we'd rebuild slowly. Maybe some relationships would never fully recover. But I knew one thing for certain. I would never again let anyone treat me like I didn't matter. I got home as the sun was setting. Changed into comfy clothes. Made curled up on my couch with that novel I'd bought months ago. The one I'd read at the hotel. I'd finished it since then. Started 3 more. Reading felt like a luxury I'd given myself. Time that was just mine. My phone lit up with a notification. An email from the tech company. They wanted me to plan their annual gala. Huge event. Big budget. High profile. I read the email twice. Let the excitement build. This was it. This was the kind of opportunity I dreamed about. I typed out a professional response. Confirmed my interest. Suggested a meeting time. Sent it off with a feeling of pride swelling in my chest. Done this. Built this business. Earned this respect. All on my own. No one to thank but myself. Later that night as I got ready for bed, I caught my reflection again. This time in the bathroom mirror. I looked tired, but content, happy even. When was the last time I'd felt genuinely happy? Before the wedding it had been years. Always stressed, always running, always trying to please everyone. Now I was just trying to please myself. And it felt amazing. I climbed into bed, pulled up the covers. Let the day's events wash over me. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, more opportunities, more moments to prove I'd made the right choice. But tonight I just felt grateful. Grateful I'd found the courage to stand up, to walk away, choose myself. My phone buzzed one last time. Text from Maya. Wine night this weekend. Smiled. Type back. Absolutely. Closed my eyes. Let sleep pull me under. Dreams filled with flower arrangements and happy clients and a life built on my own terms. The next few weeks flew by in a whirlwind of activity. The tech company gala consumed most of my time. But I loved every minute. Coordinating with vendors. Designing the space. Creating an experience. Sophie's wedding was coming up too. Everything was falling into place perfectly. My team worked like a well-oiled machine. Everyone respected each other. Communicated. Pulled their weight. This is what collaboration looks like, I told my assistant one day. She nodded, smiling. You've built something really special here, Rachel. I had. More events wasn't just a business. It was proof. Proof that I could succeed on my own. That I didn't need people who didn't value me. The family dinner Cheryl mentioned was approaching. I still hadn't decided if I'd go. Part of me wanted to see if things could be different. But another part wanted to protect the peace I'd found. Maya and I met for wine as planned. Sat on her apartment balcony as the Austin heat finally broke into a cool evening. So she said, pouring us both a glass. Are you going to the dinner? I swirled my wine, watching it catch the light. I don't know. What would you do? She thought for a moment. I think you should trust your gut, she said. It feels right, go. If it doesn't, don't. You don't owe them anything. That was true. I didn't owe them anything. But maybe I owed myself the chance to see if healing was possible. On my terms, of course. I'll go, I decided out loud. But I'm leaving the second anyone crosses a line. Maya raised her glass. That's my girl. We clinked glasses. Talked about everything else. Her work. Her dating life. A trip she was planning. Normal friend stuff. Felt good. The night of the family dinner arrived. I dressed carefully. Nice but not too fancy. Didn't want to look like I was trying too hard. Drove to Cheryl's house. My stomach doing nervous flips. I can leave anytime, I reminded myself. Anytime. Cheryl greeted me at the door with a warm hug. So glad you came, she whispered. Inside it was small. Just Cheryl, her husband, Jake, and to my surprise, Mom. No dad. No Emma. Just Mom. She looked up when I entered. Eyes uncertain. Hi, Rachel, she said softly. Hi, I replied. We sat down to dinner. The conversation was careful at first. Polite. Surface level. But gradually it deepened. Mom asked about my business. Actually listened when I talked. Didn't interrupt. Didn't make it about her. Jake shared about his startup. The challenges he faced. Cheryl told stories that made us all laugh. Felt normal. Nice even. After dinner, Mom and I found ourselves alone on the back porch. The night air was cool. Crickets chirping. I meant what I said, Mom started. About being sorry. About wanting to do better. I looked at her. Really looked at her. I know, I said. And I appreciate it. But it's going to take time. I understand, she said. I'm willing to wait. We stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Can I ask you something? Mom said. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Fully. I considered it. Maybe, I said honestly. But things will never be exactly like before. And that has to be okay. She nodded. It is. As long as I have a chance to know you. The real you. Not just the version that did everything for everyone else. I felt tears prick my eyes. Blinked them back. That means a lot, I said. We hugged. brief but genuine. When I left that night, I felt lighter. Not fixed, not healed completely, but hopeful. Hopeful that maybe, just maybe, we could build something new. Something healthier. Something based on mutual respect. I drove home under the Austin stars thinking about my journey. From doormat to business owner. From people pleaser to boundary setter. From invisible to seen. It wasn't an easy road. But it was mine. And I'd walk it again in a heartbeat. Because choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's survival. It's the most important choice you can make. And I finally understood that. Thank you for staying with my story. If you've ever had to choose yourself over people who didn't value you, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. Subscribe to Women's Revenge for more real stories about women who stood up and fought back. Hit that bell so you never miss an upload. Remember, you are worth more than how others treat you. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away.